Effective, successful, and purposeful administrative governance at the federal level in Nigeria to fast-track the much expected and anticipated developmental goals, expectations, and aspirations of the citizenry solely rests on the federal government, their ministries, agencies, and parastatals under the able leadership of the federal ministers. That's why we verify and ascertain the level of progress so far on the Ministries platform every week. Thanks for joining us. You're welcome. Let's now bring you newsreel of activities, efforts, and initiatives of several federal ministries on Ministry News. The Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Dinyari, has kicked against the idea of individuals bearing arms in Nigeria. The minister, while addressing newsmen in Abuja recently, said the number of illegal arms and ammunition in the country was part of the causes of insecurity. He charged community leaders and peace-loving Nigerians to cooperate with the security agencies in their efforts at fighting bandits and other elements threatening peace and security in the country. The federal government on Thursday established a panel to ensure the effective delivery of donor-funded agricultural projects across the country being implemented under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. At inauguration in Abuja, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mahmood Abubakar, said the functions of the National Steering Committee on Donor-Funded Projects will help to actualize the approval of the annual work plan and budget of the projects. Abubakar stated that the collaboration and partnership existing between the donor-assisted projects had yielded a remarkable result in the development of agri-business hubs in Nigeria. The Federal Minister of Environment, Mohammed Hassan Abdullahi, has disclosed that the federal government does not envisage the completion of the entire Ogoni cleanup project during the lifetime of the current administration. Addressing State House correspondents at the presidential villa, the minister pointed out that the cleanup project, which was cut into phases, had seen 10 formerly polluted sites cleaned up, adding that there had been concerns about some aspects of the project. While noting that the federal government is engaging all stakeholders to hasten the project, the minister disclosed that the president had instructed the ministry to ensure that adequate attention is paid to delivering on the project.
We've taken a number of decisions, which is essentially targeted at ensuring that we deliver on this mandate and as directed by Mr. President. First, we have raised a committee, which is to work within at most 1 week and submit a report on the status of the project, on where we are today and going forward what we need to do. Not only are we focused on delivering the project, but it must be done in a very transparent manner and according to global standards.
The Minister of Labour and Productivity, Dr. Chris Ngige, believes the suspension of the strike embarked upon by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, is dependent on the union. The minister made the comment at a recent media chat on Thursday, calling for the lecturers to be considerate. Dr. Ngige, who reiterated that he cannot make a commitment on when the impasse will be resolved, called on ASU to do their part. He, however, noted that there will be a meeting of all stakeholders very soon as part of moves to resolve the lingering strike. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has reiterated the commitment of the federal government to providing health care services to ameliorate the challenges faced by the Niger Delta people in accessing facilities in their communities. The minister, who was represented by the Deputy Director, Housing and Urban Development, Ndukwe Opai, made the pledge at the inauguration and handing over of Block of Health Center at Edem Idem Ishiet in Ona local government area of Akwa Ibom State. He lauded the thorough and timely execution of the project barely 4 months after it was awarded in 2020, noting that it is the desire of the government that preference will be for the people living in the rural areas and the vulnerable population. The Federal Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadiya Umaru Farouk, has disclosed that the ministry has trained 150,000 cooks of the National Homegrown School Feeding Program in 36 states of the Federation and the FCT to maintain safe and hygienic work environment. The minister will disclose this during the training of the school feed vendors on the program Thursday in Abuja. Said the trainees are expected to gain knowledge, learn the skills of identifying potential hazards to food safety, and apply the principles in good sanitation and good personal hygiene.
It's a nationwide strategy. We are going to train every single cook in the country, and we have like between 100 to 150,000 of them. This feeding process includes first empowering women within the communities where the schools are located to cook the food to the children, and these are children in public schools in classes 1 to 3. Children of the poor will now go to school, they will have a healthy meal, and they will be strong.
The National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, has expressed readiness to enforce the adoption of Nigeria's domain name .ng, especially among ministries, departments and agencies. Following the approval of the policy, NITDA has inaugurated a 14-man enforcement committee to monitor its implementation. According to NITDA, the new policy is expected to drastically enhance public confidence in the authenticity and security of information and other services accessed from government-owned websites. And finally, on ministry news, the Nigerian Maritime Safety and Administration Agency, NIMASA, has received a donation of $2.4 million from the Japanese government to support its Deep Blue project. This was disclosed by the Director General of the agency, Dr. Bashir Yusuf Jame, in an interview with newsmen in Zaria. Dr. Yusuf explained that the Deep Blue project, otherwise known as the Integrated National Security and Waterways Protection Infrastructure, was initiated by the Federal Ministry of Transportation and Ministry of Defense while being implemented by NIMASA. From the presidency comes fresh developments from the office of Mr. President. President Muhammadu Buhari Thursday expressed sadness as a result of the persistent insecurity in the country, which the nation's security agencies have been unable to end. The National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Mongono, retired, who briefed State House correspondents after a 3.5-hour meeting of the National Security Council presided over by the President in Abuja, noted the President's disappointment despite all the strategic efforts and support given to the security agencies, citing the recent attack of the Abuja-Kaduna train. The NSA stressed the imperative of intelligence from the citizens as a reliable and formidable solution to check the crisis.
The Kaduna train incident was like the last straw breaking the camel's back. The president is using that as a reference point to let the security agencies know that they have an obligation to get everybody, every innocent soul that is in captivity out of captivity.
President Muhammadu Buhari Tuesday in Abuja urged Nigerians to resist agents bent on causing breakdown of law and order in the country, assuring that no one individual or group will be allowed to destabilize Nigeria. The president said this at an iftar dinner with governors, ministers, and heads of government agencies. The president will thank the governors and ministers for honoring his invitation to break the Ramadan fast, expressed confidence that in spite of the current security challenges, the country will succeed. On the forthcoming general elections, he affirmed that the introduction of technology and the permanent voters card will make it impossible for anyone to claim millions of votes again in the country.
I don't know why people insist that Nigeria shouldn't be left alone to develop. We have the land, we have the resources, we have the people, but I don't know, people have allowed themselves to be destabilized in their own country. Whatever position we are occupying, I think we have to look very seriously at the problem. I assure you, we cannot choose the time, but God willing, we will succeed.
In his address, the chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum, Kayode Fayemi, commended the president for demonstrating resilience and determination at a crucial period in Nigeria's history. President Muhammadu Buhari has said no responsive government can ignore the role of religious and traditional rulers in tackling insecurity in the country. The president, who spoke recently at an iftar dinner with religious and traditional rulers in Abuja, said his administration will continue to count on the invaluable advice and guidance of members of the revered institutions towards improving the current security challenges in the country. President Buhari further said that moving forward remains a collective responsibility and urged leaders at all levels to contribute meaningfully in making the country a better place. He, however, alluded to the fact that his government has invested more resources to tackle insecurity than past administrations. President Muhammadu Buhari has posited that Boko Haram insurgency has neither religious nor ethnic underpinning, and that with adequate education, the majority of Nigerians now know the truth. The president stated this when he received the chief prosecutor of International Criminal Court (ICC), Karim Khan, at the State House, Abuja, on Wednesday. He further said that with concerted public enlightenment, it had become clear to Nigerians that Boko Haram was a perversion of religion rather than an Islamic ideology. Mr. Khan urged Nigeria, in concert with other Sahel Lake Chad Basin countries, to get the United Nations Security Council to refer the atrocities committed by the terrorist groups operating in the region to ICC for investigation and trial. And finally, from the presidency, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the appointment of Mrs. Matilda Megwa as the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Employment and Job Creation under the Office of the Minister of Labor, Employment and Productivity. Mrs. Matilda Megwa holds a degree in Industrial Chemistry, professional qualifications in accounting, both in Nigeria and Canada, master's degree in Strategy and Corporate Governance. She also brings to the position over 30 years of experience in the field of strategic leadership, social inclusion, and economic development. At this critical moment of high level of insecurity in Nigeria, the Ministry of Defense is building and maintaining a modern, compact, strong, professional, mission-capable and mission-ready armed forces for the defense of our great nation. Let's find out more from the Honorable Minister of Defense, talking about the state of insecurity in the country and the readiness of his ministry. Honorable Minister, your ministry is a very strategic one, and the principal task of the Defense Ministry is to provide policy directions of the government on all defense and security-related matters. So in the light of this, Minister, what is the defense policy thrust of the ministry and the Defense Ministry Master Plan of President Muhammadu Buhari-led government?
Well, the policy thrust of the Ministry of Defense under this administration, and indeed all administration, is guided mainly by the Nigerian constitutions and national defense policy. These documents clearly marked out the tasks for this ministry, particularly in those peculiar times in our national history. The ministry's policies thrust are thus mainly coordinate and supervise the defense headquarters, the three services, as well as parastatals and agencies to end insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, and other forms of insecurity in Nigeria. It is also to secure Nigeria territorial water and piracy in the Gulf of Guinea, protect Nigerian oil installations on shore and offshore, as well as develop and maintain central security database amongst all security agencies. Others are to develop an effective and functional defense industry, actively collaborate with the private sector to create a large number of well-paying jobs for Nigerian youth through defense industrial efforts and collaboration with other security agencies to ensure domestic security.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Well, how well has the Ministry of Defense, under your watch, been able to provide the much expected administrative and support services to actually help the armed forces to build and maintain a modern, compact, strong, professional, capable, and mission-ready force for the defense of the country?
Well, let me reiterate our appreciation to Mr. President for his unwavering support and vision. Under his leadership, we have greatly improved the capacity of our armed forces. We must, however, appreciate that the armed forces in recent times has had to adapt to various multi-dimensional threats which it was not traditionally trained for. Our focus has been to provide strategic guidance to ensure the services evolve quickly to effectively address these threats. The service chiefs understand this, and to this effect, we have made several policy changes and reviews. We are currently implementing the recommendation of the Armed Forces Reform Committee Act, and in the last 2 years have approved several structure and doctrinal changes in respective services. These changes are being systematically implemented, and we continue to assess our capabilities and make necessary adjustments. To a very large extent, I believe we have been able to provide the armed forces with both administrative and support services to meet their objectives.
The Ministry of Defense was established on the 1st of October 1958 with the statutory responsibility of overseeing the defense profile of the country from the perspective of the armed forces. But considering the current security architecture of the country, how best has the ministry practically upheld that statutory responsibility?
Well, the Ministry of Defense has played an important role in nation building, peace and security since its establishment in 1958 with Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa as the first Minister of Defense. It is generally believed that the British left Nigeria with a bloodless legal transfer of power. However, as you are aware, the evolution of the modern-day Nigeria that we see today was not smooth affair, particularly in the light of the current security challenges. However, the Ministry of Defense has continued to evolve in similar fashion to defend the territorial integrity of the nation states against external and internal threats. I will therefore say with all sense of humility that the Ministry of Defense has discharged its statutory responsibility satisfactorily. As you are all aware, internal security is presently the most serious challenges to our national security, with our armed forces currently battling communal and sectorial clashes, secessionist groups, militants, and other antisocial elements around the nation. In response to this, the Ministry of Defense, as the supervisory ministry of the armed forces, has continued to evolve new innovative solutions geared towards building capability and capacity of the armed forces through policy guidelines, platforms, and equipment acquisition. Also, training as well as logistics support, to mention just a few of them.
Fantastic, Honorable Minister. Now, one of the mandates of the Defense Ministry is to maintain a proper balance in arms and men to meet the needs of internal and external security. But looking at the state of insecurity in the country, can we say that the Defense Ministry, under your watch, has been able to live up to these mandates?
Military equipment and manpower are critical components of the armed forces in dealing with the prevailing security situation in the country. It is, however, important to note that the military equipments are either expendable or degradable and requires constant replacement or upgrade, particularly in the case of asymmetric warfare. Given these characteristics, it will be a wrong notion to presume that armed forces will be adequately equipped in total to deal with asymmetric warfare as we are currently facing in Nigeria until the security threat ceases to exist. But notwithstanding that, this administration has procured many modern military equipments and platforms in line with the current acquisition drive to boost the capacity and capability of our armed forces. Notably, for the Nigerian Army, this administration has procured several VT-4 main battle tanks, STI light-wheeled tanks, mines-resistant ambush protection vehicles, armor repair recovery vehicles, and minesweepers. Others are troops carrying vehicles, ground radar surveillance equipment, advanced tactical geolocation platform catcher, mortars, artillery weapons, as well as various caliber of guns and ammunition. Similarly, for the Nigerian Navy, we have acquired several offshore patrol boats, fast patrol boats, hydrographic survey ships, AW-139 helicopters, and various calibers of guns and ammunition. Also for the Nigerian Air Force, this administration have acquired Super Tucano aircraft, Augusta 109 and 137 helicopters, MI-35M helicopters, Super Mushat helicopters, several armed aerial vehicles, as well as various caliber of guns, bombs, and ammunition. I can confidently therefore say that the overall capability of the armed forces has been massively enhanced over the last 6 years, and we are gradually reaping the benefits of these improvements. Similarly, on the issue of manpower, the federal government has continuously improved the manpower intake and training of the armed forces to meet its manpower demands.
The Federal Fire Service is a strategic agency for national safety under the Federal Ministry of Interior. Let's bring you facts you need to know about the agency on our Ministry Agencies and Parastatals in Focus segment. We'll be right back. The Federal Fire Service in Nigeria was established in 1901 as an arm of the Lagos Police Fire Brigade. In April 1963, an Act of Parliament established the Federal Fire Service. The Federal Fire Service has the statutory responsibility for rescue, fire prevention, mitigation, firefighting, as well as paramedical and information services. The federal government reform of the fire service in the country in 2007 redefined the mandate of the service as regulation of the state and monitoring of standards for the promotion of fire education, fire prevention, safety, mitigation, and investigation, ensuring effective discharge of the functions of the state fire services, provision of policy direction for the nation's fire services, ensuring the standardization of fire and rescue equipment manufactured or imported into Nigeria, encouraging the establishment of the state fire services of adequate number of fire stations and fire posts, establishing the National Fire Academy to meet the training requirements of firefighters in the country and beyond, and coordination of national emergencies. The mandate of the Federal Fire Service also includes fire risk assessment in public buildings, enforcement of fire safety regulations in public buildings, inspection of construction works to ensure compliance with safety designs, fire safety awareness and education campaigns, capacity building and manpower development of the nation's fire service through NFA, preparation of fire reports, issuance of fire certificates, and regulation and registration of private fire outfits. The Federal Fire Service currently runs the National Fire Academy, which provides the training requirements for firefighters within the country and African sub-region, as well as formulates and develops fire safety curriculum for schools and the academy. In order to boost its firefighting capability, the federal government had procured DG-54 aerial platform firefighting truck with a 54-meter height capacity to reach the 18th floor of high-rise buildings. The Federal Fire Service is currently under the able leadership of Karebo Samson, who was appointed by President Muhammadu Buhari as the current Acting Controller General of the Federal Fire Service. Since coming on board, Karebo Samson has carried all officers of the agency along to sustain discipline and enable proper discharge of duties. The vision of the Federal Fire Service is to produce firefighters proficient in the prevention and mitigation of fire and other emergencies. And the mission of the Federal Fire Service is to ensure safety of lives and properties by extinguishing, control, and prevention of fire outbreak in the country.
The fact that there are no strict laws that governs or guides tenants.
For like 2 years now, and I have not seen one person ask me to pay 1 year.
Yeah. I like this city because of the opportunity, job opportunities.
We are no longer integrating anything. We are just putting the lives of our youths in jeopardy. We are messing them up. Some lose their life in the bid of going to serve their fatherland. And which fatherland are we talking about? No fatherland anywhere. It should be scrapped.
Some people won't even think of going to any other place if not NYC. What we should do is to look at the things that are making it not to work. In Nigeria, we have good ideas, but the implementation is bad. Go back to the drawing board and fine-tune it. This should not be scrapped. They should modify it and make it better.
NYC has actually really changed a lot of people's lives, to be honest. The process should not necessarily be scrapped. However, the lives of every youth corper needs to be taken seriously. Their welfare, their well-being, their security, very, very important.
I don't think it should be scrapped because it brings unity among people. It's a good idea. I don't think it should be scrapped.
Information gathering, proper articulation and dissemination of relevant occurrences and developments across the federal ministries, their agencies and parastatals is our mandate on the Ministers platform. Keep watching the Ministers platform. Thanks for watching.